Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, everybody. Today we're interviewing Brooks Moorhead. Brooks is a top producing realtor with Lanier Partners of Keller Williams Realty in Hartwell, Georgia. Brooks and his wife led the Moorhead Team for the past 6 years. He's a native of Northeast Georgia, and Brooks retired from a career in law enforcement after nearly 15 years, last serving as the Assistant Chief of Police. He is very active within the community and served as the 2015 President of the Georgia Upstate Lake Board of Realtors. Welcome, Brooks, and thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. Brooks, before we jump in, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? I know I already mentioned a few things about you, but anything else we should know?
Oh, yeah, nothing really. I think you've hit the highlights, but pretty much we're just a small team in kind of a small rural area, trying to make a dent into this world and trying to make a name for ourselves.
Nice. Now, let me ask you, what led you into real estate? I know you were a law enforcement officer, but did you always thought about doing that, or is it something that just came up at the end of your career in law enforcement?
It was really just kind of moving into something different, something to transition into. I'd always had a real interest in business in general, and so when I exited law enforcement, I decided to try my hand at something a little different and to try to, find something that I would enjoy and make money at the same time. And so basically the choice just kind of came down to real estate. It was something that I could migrate into fairly easily, and I went into it largely blind, but it was kind of a leap of faith.
And what would you say the personal attributes or traits you have that contributed the most to this new career success?
Well, just in my past career, I was in a position where I did a lot of analytical work and having the ability to size up other people fairly quickly, and I think is worked as an advantage to me in a lot of ways. Namely, when we get into numbers and we start doing crunching things and trying to get down to the nitty gritty of pricing homes or trying to help people and to know what price point they should be in, that sort of thing. I think it definitely works as an advantage to me. Plus, just knowing the area, I have a pretty in-depth experience and personal knowledge of the area, and that a lot of people just don't have. So I think it certainly gives me an advantage outside of what the normal agent would have.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And one thing I usually ask is how these specific traits helped you, but you already mentioned a few of them. The one thing that you can give examples for is the fact that you are able to gauge people easier, I guess, than others. Can you give an example of how this could help you?
Well, it's I can give you kind of more of a personal example. You just being able to weigh out the circumstances of what's going on. When I was trying to sell my own property, we were basically had some interested buyers, and they kept really trying to lowball us, trying to do some negotiating with us, but they were trying to use some tools that I happen to know that were expiring, that they were no longer going to be able to use after about a month or so. And so this helped me to gain some leverage in that negotiations. And basically, we walked away with a full price contract in that deal. So just basically being aware of what's going on around me, being aware of what's happening in our industry, and knowing my numbers, I was able to, work that situation to my advantage. And I guess I was my own client at the time. So, we definitely want to help the client too. So that's our main goal is being able to help our clients.
Awesome. Like a lot of things in life, there's no straight line to success, right? I mean, there's ups and downs. Can you talk to some of the major adversities or trials you had to face to reach your goals?
Well, the main thing is when I first came into real estate, I think I mentioned just a minute ago, I kind of went into it blindly. And I'm brand new licensee, and I've got a license, and we were at a really, really awful time in the market. And I paired myself up with a, less than ethical broker who, did not mentor me as though as I had wanted or wished for or expected. And so we ran into several problems. So I was only there for a very short period of time, and then moved on. So really, I guess the lesson learned is making sure the mentor that you choose is the right one for you, and making sure that that they will help you in the way that you expect them to. Because if you align yourself up with the wrong person, it can be detrimental, and it can actually set you back. So that would probably be my biggest piece of advice going into it.
Good advice. Now, one thing I like to ask successful people is how they get through tough moments. What's your go-to approach to get out of a situation where you feel there's no way out?
Well, if you're going to a situation where there's no way out, that's pretty hairy. But there's always there always has to be an avenue of approach that's going to hopefully result in a win-win, or the best case scenario, at least for everybody involved. And that's usually what I look for, is trying to accomplish the goal of the other person to the extent that it helps my goal or the goal of my client. So essentially, we are, I can use the same example that I had before. The goal of the people who were trying to purchase my home was to purchase this home and to do it in a time frame where they could use this tool that was available to them that was going to expire. My goal was to, maximize my sale. So we did find a win-win there. They bought the home. They were able to use the mechanism to do that, and so it turned out to be a win-win. So you can't always find a win-win situation. Sometimes it's just not available, but that's what I'm always looking for.
So I guess the short answer to that is that if you feel you're facing an unsurmountable obstacle, to actually find maybe there is a way out, even if you think there's none.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Yeah. There's pretty much a solution to every problem out there. Sometimes you have to look harder than you're willing to, though.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Now, looking forward, what do you think? What's your vision for your business in the next 5 years?
Well, right now we're a small team. It's primarily me and my wife, and we have an assistant. The goal is to start bringing more people on board as we expand our business. So, we want to specify those members of the team to specific duties or jobs, so that they are more they're more skilled at that, and they're, instead of a solo agents going out and they're trying to do everything. They're trying to be everything to everybody, and that's a hard job. It just really is to do that. So our goal is to we have a showing agent that's out showing properties and able to find the property that a specific buyer is looking for, and they'll turn that over to a negotiator. The negotiator then, starts working on the contract, starts working on to negotiate on their behalf and get this thing to a contract that's going to be in their best interest. And then we'll turn that contract over to a contract to close person who will see it to the end. And I think in doing that, we are able to better serve the client, just because we can specialize in one specific area, but yet they get the best of all worlds.
Oh, I like that. Very good. I usually ask at this point what you plan on doing to continue to market yourself, but you kind of have this situation here where you want to expand into a different business model to achieve the same results, obviously. Is there anything else you want to add about marketing?
Well, simply just to get your name out. That's, if you're looking for advice, it's just, being out there, being present, being in front of people. And that's why I think I hit on a solo agent trying to be all things to all people, can get lost in the shuffle, but someone who is specifying into a niche or into a specific geographical area or type of real estate or business, they can be more identified with that. So when that comes up, they will be more top of mind with the public in general.
Great. Now let's talk about some of the misconceptions out there about working with a realtor. What would you say the biggest one is?
I think the biggest misconception is how easy this job is, because it's really not. And I think that a lot of people get into this business thinking that it's easy, thinking that it's a quick buck, but it's not. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication, just like anything else that's worth doing in this life of ours. So, and that, I think that also transitions to buyers and sellers, when they're trying to, buy something or sell something on their own. I think they just go into it with the misconception that this is easy, but it is fraught with all sorts of regulatory issues, and then there's negotiations. There's always opposing views. There's always opposing conflicts of interest, and so having someone that is seasoned and having someone that is able to see the market and to know what's going on can be their biggest ally. And I think they just oftentimes lose sight of that.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Now, let's talk hypothetically here. Let's say you had a family member that lives on the other side of the country and they were thinking of selling their home. What kind of advice would you give them on selling their home? What should you do or look for?
Well, the first thing that I would recommend is trying to find a quality realtor, and to know the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent. So, I would recommend that they try to find an actual realtor who is a member of the National Association of Realtors. I would recommend that they interview more than one, and to try to get some basic information about that agent, and as far as the type of business that they've conducted. Are they just churning out properties left and right and not really giving much of a personal touch to it, or are they very dedicated to that relationship? The advice is probably different depending on who the person is. Some people just need the property sold. They're not interested in a personal relationship, but others need that relationship. So, but I would just recommend that they interview several and to go with the one that they have that best fit with when they meet with them.
Makes sense. Now, to wrap up, what one piece of advice would you give our listeners here that are interested in jumping into the realtor business and be successful at it? Earlier, you mentioned that you need to make sure you get a good mentor and that you make sure that you get help from the right person, right? But is there anything else that you would advise?
Well, that's really it. That's the main thing, is just connecting yourself up with someone who's going to lead you down a correct path. Someone that's going to has your interest at heart too, and ordinarily that's going to mean associating yourself with someone, not just taking somebody out for a cup of coffee, because if they're in your market, they're going to be competing with you, and they're probably not going to be likely to give out their secrets. But if your success benefits them, then they're probably going to be more willing to mentor you and help you along and try to help you. So really, it's just hitching your trailer with the right person and making sure that they're there to help you in the right way. So that's really my best advice.
Yeah, I like the expression, hitching your trailer with the right trailer. Hey, listen, this was very, very interesting, very insightful, very inspiring, Brooks. I really, really appreciate you doing this for us. How can our listeners learn more or get in touch with you?
Sure, absolutely. They can either visit our website at teammoorhead.com, or they can give us a call at 706-610-0076.
All right. Well, once again, a huge thank you, Brooks. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm going to wish you an amazing week now.
Great. Thanks so much, Eric.
All right. Bye-bye, Brooks.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.